one last song. This is a song from Malwa, and it describes the image is so beautiful. It's of a wedding, or rather a wedding that's waiting to happen. Kabir says, "Aha heli mhari, ini surtaro karno hai bya." Surta means your awareness, your inner consciousness. So often Kabir calls his surta as a woman. Okay, she's a nari, huh? And she's looking for a groom. So he's saying, "Surtaro karno hai bya, jodi ka banna na milya." मिलिया मिलिया लोग हजार, उनसे तो दिलड़ो ना मिलो. So I'm looking for a groom for my surta, my awareness, but I'm unable to find a groom. I met a 1,000 potential grooms, but they didn't match my sensibility. Vipata Brahman Bulavajo. Call that Brahmin to remove the hurdles to this marriage. Vipata Biraman Bulavajo Lagana Jataoji. Let's see if he can put on this marriage. Chodi dawa mama musal, jhurta so chodu parivar, piya ki lara hui jaunga hoji. I leave my family, my dear and near ones in tears because I go. I'm on my way to meeting with my beloved. Chadi dawa obhat bhat, kaya brahma sthiti jaunga. I came with peace, Abhat Bhat. Abhat Bhat is really the bank, the steps leading to the bank of the river, and everybody creates their own heart and gives their own meaning. And Kabir Bhat is another Bhat, which one way of interpreting it is, there is no. It is a bankless bank. If he refuses to be labelled or given any form, so it's a really tricky Bhat. Abhat Bhat is also a difficult steep step down to the river. So she's saying, I will trust this Abhat Bhat. I will leap across the body's force. Kaya Vajni, Sheti Jamani. So, Vaha Khulya hai Daswa Dwar. Sahib ji se Jai Minu Vaha Khulya. So, the body is envisioned often in these traditions as a palace with many doorways. It's a bungalow. And there are the bungalows have many doors through which we transact in the world, right? The openings, the entrances to this body. But there is one fence doorway which is very open, and few people seek it out, and it is that cranial opening at the top of your skull, and the baby is born at the top of the skull, closes. It has deep spiritual significance in how to use spiritual and other things. That's the place of awakening. And so she said, I climb this body force and I go to this fence doorway, and that's where I am in my mind. Surtaro kari bhi ho gaya, jodi ka banla wahan ho gaya.
जोड़ी का बनना ना मिला 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 लोग हजार, उनसे तो दिल लो ना मिलो जी। रामन बुलाई में गगन रचाओ रे हो जी। रामन बुलाई में गगन रचाओ रे हो जी। जुड़ता तो छोड़ो परिवार, अकेला न हुई जवान जुड़ता तो छोड़ो परिवार, अकेला न हुई जवान चढ़ी जाओ गटदार, गढ़ में चढ़ी जाओ चढ़ी जाओ गटदार, गढ़ में चढ़ी जाओ दसवा दुआर, साहिब जी से जई मिलो खुला है दसवा दुआर, साहिब जी से जई मिलो कर दीनो प्यार, जोड़ी का बंदा मिला सुरतारो कर दीनो प्यार, जोड़ी का बंदा मिला कबीर धर्मीदास, रटो निज नाम के कहे हो कबीर धर्मीदास रटो निज नाम कोए हो तारो कर दीनो प्यार जोड़ी का बनवा मिल आओ
Thank you, and I think we have a few minutes left.
Usually some question which I'm trying to concentrate a little. So when people talk about the spiritual journey and one of the disputes that happens when you kind of get time to inhabit with that the spiritual journey involves that there's always how does that happen outside and so are you then deviating from that? Because we're talking about Bhakti, Sufi and sort of a tradition of poetry and music which is already egalitarian in its inside. Coming, the writers, the singers, the theatre, practice music, and there is also such challenge to Brahmanism, there is such challenge to patriarchy in some ways, there is this blurring of gender and crossing of gender boundaries, all the times when we want there's no later and the beautiful other ways and how they are constructed. Beyond that into, now confined back into this context of masculinity and how we are relating masculinity to certain very virulent forms of fundamentalism and so on. So, what kind of role do you think that this tradition can play in and of itself and in the various movements that Nirmata are part of in order to counter that, especially when this tradition itself is very crushed by a majoritarian view of religion? I mean, I love the line about Dharam Dharam Sakshina because you're talking about a spiritual tradition or a spiritual journey where even though religion is religious duty and your household duty are leading that. So it's really subversive and it's potential and a false side and it's something to be realized and talked about. So just, in this response, what you're backing to is something that share some insights, observations, questions for both of you and everybody.
Thank you.
I have just one thought as you were finishing your comment, that even forms of fundamentalism, religious fundamentalism, or other kinds of I just had a feeling that that forms of fundamentalism may embody a search for meaning. And of course that's totally twisted and distorted. But the way this poetry acts in a subversive way, in my understanding it gives you a deeper meaning. And it doesn't stop you from engaging from the outward world. So that dichotomy is more in our minds. And it's also in the religious tradition that we've grown up with, that either you engage with the world or you engage with an inner world. But this poetry speaks of staying in the world very much. And Kabir was a householder. He was married, he had children, he had a profession, and he lived a normal life. And many of his pot shots are taken at so-called yogis who leave everything, but then he says, "Moond mundai se kya hue?" Then jata badai se kya hue? Ya tirat nahi se kya hue? If taking a dip in a water could save you, then fish would be saved, and so on. And also it is, what is that doha about Janme, Banme Sanyasi or Dharme? It's a very beautiful doha about how someone can be in the world and be a total renunciate, and someone can go into the forest and be totally attached. So it has nothing to do with the outer form, but in our simple dualistic ways of thinking, we made it into that. That can be either or situation. But nowhere does the poetry say it's an either or situation. Nowhere does it say that if you go on an inner journey, you will not engage with the outer world anymore. In fact, you engage with it in a better way because you shed your own issues, your own hang-ups, your own attachments. So the real journey within is there. and to dealing with the outer world, and also coming back to my earlier point, it gives you a sense of meaning, which is located in yourself. So it is not then located in trying to convert someone else, change someone else, or make sure that someone else behaves in one particular way. Whether men trying to decide how women should behave, or religion trying to decide how everyone else should behave, or fundamentalists trying to decide how the world should look. Basically, it's one person trying to tell the other person, you have to behave in this way. But this poetry, what it does is, it totally locates meaning in oneself. And therefore, one is free to act in the outer world with compassion, not with requirements from the other world.
So my question was precisely that. The understanding based on the modern portrait poetry and this tradition has all these qualities. How does it become more violent within our current struggles and movements against the culture which are trying to squash all this kind of diversity as well as all this aggressiveness as well as this very tradition?
I'd just like to say one thing, that I feel that we also need to redefine perhaps our notion of political action. We all come from spaces of mass-based struggles. We've all been very leftist in our antecedents, and we have received a certain idea of what constitutes political action. And I think when we come from that framework and we see people sitting and doing satsang through the night, we see that as inaction. And I think that's a deep misrecognition of what it is actually that's happening in that space. There is even a common kahawat in Hindi ke घर में बैठ के मंजीरे बजा रहा है, or like it's used to say, oh, he's a good for nothing, he does nothing. But what is that space really? I strongly feel that the space of the village satsang is intensely radical. It is a space where you start with songs to the gods, you start with markers of outer identity, and then it progresses to helping everybody in that satsang engage with a non-self. At a very core level, I believe that's what it does. It helps you disengage, step out of your identity markers. Look, the word ecstasy comes from ecstasis, to be able to stand outside of your received sense of self. And that is the state of ecstasy. You lose all your markers, and that is why music is so threatening to structured religion, because it makes you lose your sense of being Muslim or being Sikh or being this or that. So satsang, in the spirit of the Sant tradition, or in the spirit of bhakti, or in the spirit of Sufi thought, is deeply it shakes structured systems. In the act of satsang, you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to get inspiration for satsang to then go and do dharna. No. The satsang is your political action, because you are transforming yourself. Your energy is radiating outward, and hopefully it's radiating back into your life in some way. So let's stop looking at the space of music, culture, poetry as inaction, as entertainment in the evenings, or the real space of political action lies somewhere else. It's not like that. There's deep transformation happening here. Yes, you've been wanting to say something for a while. Yes.
I just wanted to thank you both for the reminder of this different instinct. It's opposite. And it's exactly what and I'm letting my heart to you. Inspirational, and it reminds me, by the way, of an ultimately question that was raised about how can this be used in good things. In a project that I'm involved in Kenya, in Mombasa, we then write songs and poems. Switzerland is going to use those precisely to defend our distribution culture. But it is extraordinarily powerful and wonderful.
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to ask, in San Manila, and in such a huge patriarchal society, with a song and dance, and for all the Panditjis who are putting out their hair, because she was rebelling in a very nice way. And it was at that time. In Vrindavan, when she gone, and then there was some big Panditji who didn't want to die with two women. So, and then she says, maybe we could share that. But what you are saying that with music, culture, many of these things, that one can challenge, and get across some of these things much more effectively, because it sort of infiltrates without even your knowing. So it goes to your head and your heart simultaneously without even realizing that you got
Transformed.
No, I wanted to very, very sincerely. And the fact that Kabir and Sridas and others had written from the feminine written, I've heard and read all this, but I never, it never struck till you think. Guru Nanak, I don't know much, but now that you're saying, I'm just sort of feeling curious. That think of, because there were these two people, one was a Muslim and
Mardana.
and they used to play the rabab.
Yes.
What is your instrument?
Tambura.
Tambura, sorry, so give me an address. Because Mirabai also had one.
Ek Tara.
Ek Tara. So that's one thing common is that they all having this kind of instrument.
Yeah.
They all singing of another reality and challenging happiness.
Yes.
What I understood last evening, and I also not in the afternoon. So our Bhakti, creation of after Bhakti movement, songs, it all expressed love. If you love your lover or love for Almighty, so if you love, then no discrimination and also the religious people was going to always some quarrel and supremacy of. So they preach love. If you love each other, then there will be peace and. But they preach love with their eyes open. They always look at what's going on in society. They point out what's happening and. Yes.
Two questions that are kind of raising. One is what happens after surrender? What happens after the finding / losing of oneself to merging with non-self? What happens?
I have an answer.
What happens when that to which one has surrendered then turns around and walks away?
Deeply personal.
Yeah, deeply personal. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I thought I would take refuge in a story in trying to answer this tricky question. And this is a story that is told with great elan by the Qawwal Fariduddin Ayaz at the tail end of a film which I made on Kabir called Had Anhad. And we are returning from Pakistan and he tells us this story as we are leaving. He says, देखो मक्खियाँ थी. There were lots of flies.
मक्खी और परवाने का किस्सा.
हाँ, मक्खी और परवाने का किस्सा. Parwana is the moth and makhis are flies, house flies. So the house flies, मक्खियाँ आई Shah of Parwana के पास. They came to the king of moths and they said, Shah ji, आप हमको भी परवाने का दर्जा दो. We are not just makhis. Please consider us parvanas. Give us the status of being moths. So the parvanas, the Shah of the parvanas said, okay. So see, the job of parvana is to find light. So why don't you set out? Parvanas have also set out to find light. You also set out. We'll see.
Who comes back first?
And we'll see whether you're worthy of being called a parvana. So the makhya nikli, the houseflies took off in 20 different directions looking for light. And somebody found a chitta somewhere, a funeral pyre, somebody found a house light somewhere, somebody found a bulb on a street somewhere, and they all came brrr, brrr, karke वापस आई. back quickly to the Shah of Parwana to say, we found light, we found light. So he says,
And no, give your decision.
हाँ, give your decision कि परवाने जीते कि हम. So he says,
बेटा फैसला तो हो गया.
उल्लू के पट्टों, फैसला तो हो गया. तो उन्होंने कहा क्या फैसला हो गया? तो उन्होंने कहा उल्लू के पट्टों जिनको रोशनी मिल गई उनको वापस आने की क्या जरूरत है? वो तो एक हो गए, उस लय में मिल गए, उस रोशनी में कुर्बान हो गए जिनको. एंड देन ही लुक्स एट मी वेरी मीनिंगफुली विद माय कैमरा ओवर हियर एंड ही सेज जिनको सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए वो वापस आते हैं कि देखो हमको रोशनी मिल गई, अब हमको कुछ दर्जा मिलना चाहिए इसका. तो एंड देन ही ब्लॉक्स माय कैमरा एंड ही सेज आप अभी सर्टिफिकेट कमाने का काम कर रहे हैं. आई एम सॉरी, आई डोंट नो, दिस इज एन एस्केप फ्रॉम अ क्वेश्चन दैट वाज अ वेरी सिंसियर हार्टफेल्ट क्वेश्चन, बट
The second part of the question I just wanted to relate to is that in
I'm so sorry. I lost. I'm so sorry. So the houseflies returned and asked told the Shah of Parwanas that look, we've found light here, there, and everywhere, and now you take a decision between your moths and us. Who won? So the Shah says, I'm sorry, the decision is already made, you idiots, because those who find the light, why do they need to come back? They become one with the light. It's only those who want to earn a certificate, they come back.
quickly, very quickly to just, no, but I want to just say one thing. In one very beautiful interview with Parvati Gaur, she says, when you go through the process of surrender and you arrive at surrender, you find that you are surrendering to yourself. So there is no one else that is going to walk away. If you find yourself, you are in surrender to yourself. Yes, you have time for one question.
I just wanted to ask you, in free poetry, which you all have done in free poetry, is it radically different from the kind of poetry which the Dalit poets into the writing wrote?
Very different.
You know,
Very
or
different.
is that some of it still continue in the, you know, in the more modern poems?
Well, I think without knowing in very great depth the Dalit poetry being written contemporarily, my sense is that the Dalit poetry, contemporary poetry, is more protest poetry about outer structures of oppression. There isn't a reflection on an inner life in that poetry as far as I know. Whereas this poetry keeps its gaze fiercely outer and inner. Whether it's not just about socio-political reform, it's about inner reform and inner work. And the two goes together.
So it's very layered, actually, very layered. So whatever interpretation, whatever level you want to
It goes through multiple levels.
will all be, you know, dependent. And if you reach there. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, go to the
I just start with this first preamble. What's the name? My name is Ravi. I'm from Pakistan. I came from India, immigrants from all the countries came back. The other demolished destroyed from the latest time in India. For me, surrender is like, overcoming or, enabling yourself to power over your ego.
Sorry?
Your ego. Surrender means, controlling and subjugating your ego. That is what surrender means to me. In particular, in the entire tradition, the Sufi tradition and all the other traditions, when surrender is being narrated, it means that surrender to your ego. And when we are talking about Christianity, Christianity is talking about people. To relate to the concept of Christianity. As men, when we are able to reflect on your notions of ego, we will be able to transcend that. And this is what is and I agree with that entirely political. And it's certainly life, rather it's not just an action of achieving something else, but it is itself life.
Yeah.
Music and purpose and all this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.